Hi guys, this is Gagan Singh reporting today from the Hollywood come Bollywood Festival Epic Center, Cannes, in French Riviera, southeastern coast of France. And as I walk through these ultra rich streets of French Riviera in Cannes, there's one thing which is very strikingly noticeable: the silence. You are not seeing many people around, and of course, the sea has its own quiet way of communicating through silence, almost like खामोशी को खामोशी से बात करने दो. And because of the serenity all around, it gives such a great feel that you really enjoy the calm serenity of the entire locale over here. The question then which comes to the forefront is, how can leaders use silence? Because one of the greatest skills is the art of communication. And to tell my point over here, let me ask you a small question. If I were to ask you one of the biggest reasons which proved to be the final trigger of the war of Mahabharat, well, there were many. But surely the one worst triggering point was when, in that palace which was built by Yudhishthir for his family, the moment Duryodhan stepped at the pond, thinking that it was probably a floor, he fell, tripped down, and as he was drenched in the pond, well, probably Draupadi satired and said, Andhe ka putra andha. A blind man's son is blind. That one offensive comment was such a hurtful factor for Duryodhan that he was absolutely livid with rage and took a vow to take revenge. And that's how the story of vengeance got accelerated. Not to say that if that episode wouldn't have happened, well, the war may not have happened. It still might. But didn't that one wrong comment simply escalate that entire cataclysmic war? Well, that really goes to say something very important for communication skills. The biggest secret to become a great communicator is to know when not to speak. So I would like to give you 3 vital golden rules to follow in your life. First rule is, silence is golden, specifically in 3 situations. So whenever in a controversial surrounding, in a debate, in an argument which is turning negative, if you feel that your commenting, your intervention is only going to make the situation worse, well, often silence is the better weapon. Secondly, if you feel that the discussion is going very smoothly and 2 sides are collaborating, coming to a very wonderful win-win situation, once again, silence is golden because your intervention will only complicate things. And number 3, if you feel that by speaking you are forcefully trying to interject into a process where, well, as they say, it's none of your business, even in such circumstances, silence is golden. Now, it's not a very easy paradigm because to remain silent is one of the toughest skills. So always ask yourself these thoughts, ask yourself these questions: that am I adding value? Am I making the discussion more fruitful? Am I making it more constructive? And if the answer is yes, then of course open your mouth. Otherwise, try to take the rhetoric lesson from the Draupadi Duryodhan episode, where if Draupadi would have just sort of remained silent and not spoken anything, the entire saga would have been different. Better still, if she would have appreciated or respected and said, "Oh, my dear brother-in-law Duryodhan, I hope you aren't hurt. I hope you're feeling well." Well, imagine where the entire saga may have gone then. So remember to remain silent in controversial circumstances if your speech could only further cascade things into a critical crisis. The second rule, my worthy friends, is all about the art of saying no. In the case of communication, very often it happens that people are taught the fundamental good Samaritan value of helping others, being a good human being. And it comes very natural to us to say, yeah, sure, I'll be happy to do that. Yes, sure. Yes, why not? So whenever somebody would reach out, can you please do this? You'll say yes. Can you please help me? You'll again say yes. Could you kindly do me this favor? You will feel obliged to say yes. And this inability to say no to a wrong request or an unjust request, someone taking undue advantage of you, leads to cascading of negative emotions inside you, leads to a situation where people could exploit you, and leads to a situation where you become predictable. And the moment you become predictable, it's all the more likely that people would take undue advantage and ask you very unreasonable favors. Going back to the epic Mahabharat, just imagine if Yudhishthir, when he was given the invitation to come to that gambling match with Shakuni, would have simply said, thank you so much. However, I'll like to skip it this time, so I would like to decline your kind invitation. Well, again, probably the war may have at least been postponed, if not averted. So, in order to know where you have to say no, it's also important to know how you will say no. And for that, my worthy friends, there are 3 important rules. First of all, make sure that it is respectful, which means you need to add respectful words that, yeah, sure, my friend, I'm very happy to hear your point. However, please allow me to decline this time. However, my friend, as much as I want to help you, I'm sorry, but this time it may not be easy for me. So make sure that your words are respectful. Number 2, make sure that you are unambiguous, which means that there should be no scope of equivocality or vagueness, and the message should go very clearly. So the most dangerous terms are, okay, I will think about it, okay, I will ponder, let me see what I can do. These kind of vague commitments can put you in trouble, because then the other person starts expecting while you have no intention to do what he or she has requested. So vagueness is the next biggest enemy. The third thing is a very decisive clarity and a combination of your body language with the words. So if you are declining with words, make sure your body language is very friendly. So, my dear friend, as much as I wanted to help you, well, I'm so sorry I can't do that. So smile. Do not shy away. Because quite often, saying no politely with respect on the face of it would solve matters at a much faster pace. And finally, the third important communication lesson which I wish to share with all of you is the art of making sure that when you are with people, you are trying to understand them. The ability to acknowledge, appreciate, understand divergent views. This silent ocean over here, this beautiful, amazing landscape over here, teaches us that when we are in surroundings with others, we can only exist in bonhomie if they understand us and we understand them. But is it in your hand to make them understand you? The answer is no. The only one person you can change is you yourself. So in order to be a great communicator, the journey begins by understanding the perspective of the other side, which means you may want to know a bit more about the people you are going to deal with. You may want to read, you may want to research, you may want to understand the deeper perspective about what is happening over there. Because the moment you understand people, it's likely that because of your empathy, your response to them is likely to be more humane. And that is one of the big secrets to build great relationships. So my wonderful viewers, from these lovely mountains, this lovely sea-based panoramic view of the amazing Cannes, the important message is the sea tells us to communicate. And it happens by silence is golden when speaking could be vitriolic. Learn to say no. And number 3, make emotional strength, empathy to understand people. This is Gagan Singh signing off.